Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're glad you're here. I have somebody very special with us today. This is Brogan.
Hi, everyone.
Love Brogan. Our first encounter, we met a few years ago at the Four Seasons pool, and Brogan had come to town to see someone who I love, one of my favorite people, and her soon to be, hopefully, fiance. And we were at the pool, and I'm like, who is this girl? I'm very protective of Adam, was very curious who she was. She was so chill, not afraid to speak up, not afraid to give him a run for his money, which needs to happen. Immediately noticed a cross she was wearing and bonded over the fact that she had just lost her mom recently, right before I had lost mine. And I loved her. So we kicked it off from the start. Then our second interaction was at the Four Seasons bar downstairs, which at the time we were all using as our kind of living room extension. And USC was playing. And I couldn't believe my eyes. She's drinking her martinis, her red wine, standing up, yelling at the TV. And I had never seen something like this from like another girl. I mean, I'm super into football, but not really any of my close friends are. And so I loved it. I'm like, okay, she can hang. She is one of us. And it's dead silent in the bar. And she's up cheering and rooting. And she's like, my USC Trojans ball. Do you remember who they were playing?
I have no idea. I was probably 5 martinis in, but
Yeah. Well, that's what and then our third interaction, I think, or very soon after, was a UT football game, which was your first UT football experience, which was fun. But again, you were like so not interested. You're like, yeah, this is cool, but USC, USC.
yeah, no heart in the
So
game there.
no heart in the game. Yeah. So here we are now, and she's currently living in Austin. And I'm so excited to have her here. She is from Orange County. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, no, super excited to be on here with you, Lauren. But again, from Orange County, I just made the move to Austin, Texas, about a year ago, actually. Now, played sports my whole life, so super competitive, as Lauren said, especially when I've got some martinis in me. But basketball ended up being my favorite sport. I played for Swish, one of the top Nike club teams in the country. Spent summers in Portland and Nashville playing in front of college coaches. Started varsity all 4 years at San Clemente High School. They were the best in the county at the time. I was team captain, first team all conference. I even ran varsity track, 100, the 200, and I was the anchor for the 4x1. Eventually blew out my ACL, my MCL, meniscus before senior year, so that was horrific timing. That takes a long, long time to recover. I went on to play at a JUCO where I was ranked number 3 in California, but this was all NIL. So instead of getting rich, I ended up at USC, joined a sorority, Delta Gamma, and absolutely dominated intramurals. So yeah, if NIL existed back then, I'd probably be again cashing my endorsement checks. But instead, I'm on a podcast right now. So a little bit
Well,
about me
I'm
there.
glad you're here.
To be here,
I
no,
might
very
not have
happy to be
had you
here.
otherwise.
I was gonna,
Adam
could be
may
a
not have had you
millionaire.
otherwise. Okay, well, we'll roll right into things. We'll be hearing more about Brogan's teams collegiately and in NFL, NBA, WNBA, and her opinions on all of it. So, okay, we'll get going with hot takes. So, last week we asked for you all to submit suggestions for the most annoying figures in college football. Could be coaches, mascots, announcers, wives, girlfriends, players, fans, etc. Had a whole bunch of feedback. Let's break down the list. And this is in no order. This is just a compilation from what we heard back. So, we'll start with Brian Kelly, LSU. First interview at LSU, faked a Southern accent. Like, who does that? Already
Coming
a
from
little
Notre Dame.
coming from Notre Dame, where he also was not very well liked, from for people, and then got transferred over to LSU. Cringe posts, bad press conferences, arrogant. I mean, I just haven't heard really many people respect him.
No, my best friend she's a Bama person, but she absolutely can't stand him as she should. But I mean, she's yeah, bad transition from Notre Dame for sure.
Yeah, downgrade. But yeah, I kind of on brand for LSU. Let's say I'm not a huge fan of LSU in general, but he does not help their picture. Next, Aggie yell leaders, which I mean, it's I still can't figure it out. It's part of their tradition. I get it. 12th man, all of that. But I just kind of laugh that everyone has this huge opinion on male cheerleaders in all other schools and professional sports. And then the Aggies, they don't allow women yell leaders, which again, tradition, fine. But why is nobody saying anything about that? And it's fine either way. But I can't get behind the yell leaders. I was watching a clip before a game the other weekend, and there were these little girls out mimicking the yell leaders. I'm like, well, they have no chance of growing up to be one. So what are they doing?
Coming from California, I had to Google this, and this suggested, thing that I put into my search box was cringe, yell leaders, gay, yell leaders, all these horrible things. And I was like, what is a yell leader? So I started looking them up, and I was like mortified. I had secondhand embarrassment. But I learned a lot about the Aggies moving to Austin, Texas. They're very culty.
Everything to do with Notre Dame was another one that I thought was funny, which again is probably a little bit left over from Brian Kelly, but I know the fans are kind of hard to like. I like the obviously, Catholic school. I actually like their coach, but I can see where to a lot of people they'd be annoying. I don't like the fans. Everything is like go Irish, luck of the Irish, all of that. Too many leprechauns for me.
Well, growing up in an Irish Catholic household, my
Yeah,
name is Brogan Griffin. It's tough because I obviously want to really like Notre Dame. My
they make
grandma,
it hard.
obsessed and everything, but that's USC's rival. So it's an absolute no for me.
Hard no. Steve Sarkisian, someone we've obviously talked about plenty of times before. So much hype coming to UT from past coaching positions at Alabama. Overcame his drinking issues, which good for him. He's now two.
USC.
Yeah, he's now 2-8 versus top 10 teams at Texas, and 5-18 versus top 10 teams all time. Not very great for someone that has had so much hype for his career. I don't think he's very well liked outside of the Texas fans, which that could be changing too.
Well, again, we can get into his wife later, but herself calling her first lady of football, and he hasn't even won a national championship or an
Yeah,
SEC championship. That's a little concerning.
very concerning. And then following that, had a bunch of Texas fans, which again, I get it. I like Texas. I like the brand. I think the athletic department's great. Obviously, the games are fun. They put on a great show, but these fans are so diehard and orange bloods and all of this. And I just, for the hype, again, the money that they have in the program, the donors that they have invested, where they have nothing to show for in quite a while. I mean, yeah, last year they did decently, but this year is not off to a good start.
Again, I'm very new to Texas. My first Texas game, I was told I was wearing Tennessee orange. I didn't know the difference. Apparently, Tennessee, Texas, and Clemson are all orange. Still figuring that out, but yeah, they're a bit obnoxious. I can tell you that.
I think that's the general consensus from everyone outside of Texas. And then adding to that wagon, Matthew McConaughey. And we all know how I feel about that. But again, this isn't coming from me. This is from all kinds of people from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all kinds of people that are listening and chiming in. So, what's your thought on Matthew McConaughey?
That's tough. He just gives off the vibe that he's always acting. I mean, I don't know why he's in the locker room. He's a thespian. He's not a football player. I mean, get off the field, Matthew McConaughey. That's my take on it.
And again, seems consistent to what everyone else thinks too, minus the Texas fans. Gators fans, don't really know much about them, but there was a lot of Gator fans' feedback. Any college that wears the color orange, which I thought was a funny comment. And to your point, there's Clemson, Tennessee, Texas. I mean, you could even, I guess, Gators are orange and blue, but thought that was kind of funny. Pat McAfee, he was on there a couple times.
I have some opinions on him. One of my best friends, she again grew up next door to Saban. She thinks very highly of Pat in the fact that he is trash. Just blonde hair, comes to work in wife beaters. It's like, what are you doing? I know you're entertaining, but still have some class.
He's a little obnoxious, and yeah, his big belt buckle sometimes, and kind of puts on the show. But I have to say, he puts on a show, and I
Exactly.
don't mind watching him in doses, but he is a lot. Ohio State, obviously a big one out there. Multiple submissions for that. Talented program, all around annoying for sure. The mascot's annoying. Brutus the Buckeye, like, come on. Ryan Day's the head coach. Matt Patricia's defensive coordinator, coming off his terrible time with the Lions. I don't look at them, and other than seeing a talented football team and see them for what they are, I do not understand Ohio State. I do not understand Ohio in general. I don't get it.
I really don't have any comments on that. I think that's the only thing that Ohio has to bring is their football
Yeah,
team. So.
exactly. And that's it. That's the extent. Michigan and Indiana, kind of surprising, but again, I can see that there were a lot of that. I think Michigan's a classy school. I think Ann Arbor seems like a classy little old school town. Indiana was a little bit surprising to me. But was on there multiple times too.
I know USC is playing Michigan, so I have no comment on
I know
that
this
yet.
weekend coming up. I know. Yeah, we'll get there.
Holding my breath after the loss to Illinois last weekend. So
I know. Alabama, obviously, number one, that was going to be on the list. You know, I loved watching them lose historically. Loved it. When Saban was coaching, you know, they're winning. Now, to me, I just feel like they're a little bit more irrelevant. Obviously, not performing as well as they had been. Saban's gone. And I actually like Saban as a coach and as a person. I think he's kind of funny. I think he's funny as a commentator now. But again, I did really like to see them lose for a long time.
I was going to say a lot of people I think watched Alabama just due to Saban, just being an all around good guy, and I think that's kind of lost his culture in a sense.
Yeah.
But again, nothing bad to say about Alabama.
Yeah. Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football. Did you watch the Netflix documentary, Johnny Football?
I was going to ask if he's still alive because I haven't heard his name in a while. So
Yeah, well, he was on the sidelines this past weekend, and there's always some controversy around him. I get a little bit more insight into him after watching the Netflix. You should watch it, you know, and his struggle with alcohol and partying and all of that. It was kind of interesting. Obviously, a Heisman Trophy winner at A&M, so much hype around him, very confident. Obviously, partying and drinking got in the way of his success, which is ultimately too bad. You hate to see that for anyone, but I never hear anyone think that he's likable. And he used to be out in Austin all the time. Even after his, I really don't know what he's been doing. I agree, but kind of irrelevant. But he came up a few times. Kirk Herbstreit. I know there's a lot of that split on that. A lot of people think that he heavily favors SEC teams or big brand teams. Big Ohio State fan, very opinionated. I think he's a little hard to listen to, but don't really have a strong opinion, but a lot of people did.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on him either.
Diego Pavia, another person I don't know that much about, Vanderbilt quarterback, but again, arrogant, currently suing the NCAA over rules about his eligibility in his years at junior college. Like, what? Everyone knows that if you play at junior college, it goes into effect for your eligibility. Like, what's there to sue? So I can ought to just right there be like, okay. Doesn't
we
back
know
up
who
his
you are
talk.
as a person.
Exactly. But we'll see how that goes. Maybe he'll come here and put on a show and beat UT. We'll see. Again, back to Indiana, Curt Cignetti, like, don't know anything really about him, but I thought that was kind of funny that he was mentioned a few times. And then my favorite one on the list, Steve Sarkisian's wife, L'Oreal Sarkisian, the self-proclaimed First Lady of Football. And this fits perfectly with Texas's football royalty, absolute mythology, along with the Minister of Culture. The First Lady of Football? Like, how can you call yourself that?
Big statement.
It is a bold statement. Again, you are the wife of a football coach. There's a lot of those. First of all, this isn't the NFL. Second of all, you're not some multiple, national championship winner, big, voice in football at all. Maybe if you were like the first women NFL owner or something, you could maybe say that with a little class, but where she's coming from with it is just not a fit.
Weren't they about to get divorced and then she got pregnant?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So they were about to get divorced. They both came out publicly and said that they were getting divorced and amicably were splitting. Then came out right after that she was pregnant. Now they have a son together, which again, blessing no matter what. So I'm glad that worked for them. And I've never heard anything, terrible about her necessarily as a person. And obviously nothing terrible about Sark as a person. So I'm not going down there, but that is just a big label for me. She has a posse that is with her all the time. Like on the football field, she has a team following her of cameramen taking pictures. She obviously considers herself a stylist and fashion icon, which again, a little bit self-proclaimed, a little bit much, and really doesn't fit the culture of Austin, let's say. And speaking of culture, now there's going to be a Real Housewives of Austin. I think there's a pilot starting that's getting filmed this month, actually. I'm not going to mention any of the other cast members, but she is one of them. And her whole identity is on Sark. I do not know how the university and the donors are going to look on this when, again, her identity is the first lady of football. Like, how is that going to go, blending a show and UT football?
Just want to add to that. So I grew up in Orange County. My mom, bless her heart, she was a beautiful OC housewife, but she was part of a bunco group, and they called themselves, or they said they were doing Drunko. She was actually one of the first people to be asked if she wanted to be on the Real Housewives of Orange County. She came home from that night wasted and was talking to my dad. She's like, "Oh my God, we're going to be on this reality TV show. They're going to film everything we're doing. They're going to come film our children." And my dad goes, "Fuck no." So we were never on that show. Needless to say, now that people are joining, yeah, they really get into the intricacies of your personal life. So I don't know why he is signing up for that or the football team signing up for that, but that's an interesting way to go about everything.
Yeah, and I don't even know how aware the university was or how maybe much he even knows what it entails. But again, if that's your husband and that's your life, of course she's going to ride that. And if Texas is also not performing, they're going to start pointing fingers, again, the fans and the donors and the university, and they're not going to like the publicity that she's bringing and the image that she's portraying, in my opinion, because I would have a massive problem with it if I was on that side of it. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I just think it's a big like spotlight that you have on you, and there's a lot of responsibilities that come from it, and there's a lot of negativity that comes from it. So we'll see how that plays out, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah, and a lot of it's not even controlled. I mean, it's pretty much scripted. I mean, part of the whole premise of the show is drama and to thrive off drama. I mean, it's not even all genuine. So that'll be very interesting. But
Edge of my
look at
seat.
you missing out on Real Housewives and NIL. So now we've got a podcast. This is the next best thing.
I could have been really Instagram famous right now, guys. But here,
exactly. Hey, and the Texas Longhorns are favored for Texas OU Red River Rivalry this weekend. And how? This blows my mind to me. So Texas is a 3.5-point favorite over OU. OU faces their starting quarterback being injured. He had a hand injury on his right throwing hand about 3 weeks ago. The backup is Michael Hawkins Jr. He helped lead the team to 44-0 win against Kent State at home, which is great showing, but they're pushing for Mateer to return to Saturday's game. And so I don't know if they're just trying to mess with the spread or put it out there to keep Texas on their toes. I don't know, but to me that seems like less than 3 weeks post hand surgery is a little bit much. I'm sure they're following protocol in the process, probably wishful thinking, but I just think it's not worth risking it further. I mean, as you know, injuries take a long time to heal and recover depending on what it is. And I mean, the worst thing you can do is push it.
come back too early, and then it ends up being way worse.
Exactly. I mean, they've got a more important rest of the season than playing Texas this weekend. Although, again, sadly, I would like to see them come and beat Texas and Dallas. So OU is currently 5-0, ranked 7 in the AP poll, which Texas fell out of the top 25 for the first time since 2022. Texas is 3-2, lost to Florida Gators, obviously, haven't beaten a Power 4 team all season. And by the way, after their loss to Florida, Mark's interview, his response to the loss was take the other 135 teams, have them go play at Ohio State and the Swamp and see how they do. Could you imagine a worse answer? I mean, that's terrible. Let's take the other 100 exactly. Let's take the other 135 teams outside of the top 25 and let's see what their head coach is getting paid, how much money is in the program. And then that, like, you can't say that. What about the other 135 teams? You're supposed to have one of the most successful teams in college sports. You have Arch as the quarterback, so much hype, so much money in the program, and that's your response. Let's look at the other 135 teams. No, you lost.
It's very like victim blaming, like, oh, well, like it's not us. Like, look at everybody else that could have been worse than us. It's like,
Right, and
no,
and
come
as
on,
they
like
should
own
be,
up
but
to
you are
it. Yeah.
ranked 1. Exactly, you are ranked 1, and you're not having a great season. You have a lot to speak to about your team, and again, it's not Arch's fault. There's a lot of things that go into this, and at the end of the day, it does start with him, and he says the same thing every time. "We gotta play better. It starts with me." Yeah, it sure does. You're the head coach, and you're getting paid for it, and you're married to the first lady of football, so yeah.
Was gonna say, and at some point you got to take the blame and be like, because the Manning family, they are incredible people. I think very highly of them, and
Lovely,
I think
mhm.
there's been, yeah, a lot of pressure put on Arch Manning with the NIL and how much he's being paid. I At some point you got to like own it and be like, okay, like he is a top tier player. Like, how am I not bringing the best out of him? I mean, looking from that
And the other
perspective.
right, and the other, I mean, their defense is supposed to be top in the country. Them and Ohio State. I mean, it's not just Arch. Like it takes the offense to score, but it also takes the defense. And on both sides, there's breakdowns, which also brings up the question, which you just touched on. Should these players that have not proven themselves be getting paid millions of dollars? They have so much pressure. It adds to the pressure on them, the hype on them, and they haven't had to go out there and prove themselves.
I think at some point you got to let them play and then you can pay them. I think it's a little premature. It puts a lot of pressure on everybody. But at the same time, like, I would be playing basketball to this day if the NIL existed. And
Totally.
so I encourage it. I'm not mad about it by any means. I think it's an awesome thing that came to sports. I think Reggie Bush should get his his Heisman back, if you want my honest opinion. But no, that's just where I'm at with that.
No, and I agree. I think it's great for the sport. And I mean, if you think about the amount of money that, obviously football being the first, but basketball, baseball, track, golf, tennis, whatever sport it is, the amount of money that is driven to the universities through these athletes and through them performing, they do deserve to be paid. And I'm totally behind that. But again, it is just a little bit excessive to have this kind of show up front and then to be
Premature.
lacking on exactly on the back end is just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to earn it on the field first.
And earning it in high school is also much different than earning it in college. Just totally different playing field.
Completely. I mean, in terms of just the stadium and all the pressures behind it, I totally agree with you.
And just the talent. If you're not at a 6A Texas school, let's say, or Florida, the strength of and the talent in the high school pool is just not as significant as when you get thrown into a top tier university.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on. One of the strangest stories in quite some time, and I just feel horrible for his wife and children, but former Jets quarterback and current Fox Sports commentator Mark Sanchez. Is that not the weirdest thing you've heard? So he's in Indianapolis to cover Sunday's game between the Colts and the Raiders. There was an altercation allegedly late at night, 12:30 a.m., I think, with a 69-year-old grease truck driver in the alley of a hotel, essentially. He's just allegedly running wind sprints in this alley, comes across this driver who's, he says he wasn't supposed to be parked there, enters the truck. The guy thinks he's in danger, so he pulls out pepper spray, sprays him, doesn't do the trick. So he starts stabbing him. So he's in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. They initially, said it was charged with battery with injury, unlawful entry of motor vehicle, public intoxication. Well, now it's felony charges. He's fighting for his life and you get arrested? I mean, terrible all the way around, and it seems like it's so not like him.
This whole story is really wild to me. I went to college with his wife, actually. She tried recruiting me to Kappa,
Oh,
but I
wow.
ended up going Delta Gamma. And every college party we went to, she made it, a thing to come up to me and be like, how are you doing? How's everything going? Just one of the sweetest people that I think I went to college with. That again, the other Kappas went a different direction. It was a little rivalry between Kappa and DG, but she was just so kind. So I know she didn't go out of her way to marry somebody that
It's
you know
reckless.
behaved in that
Ye-
manner. So I think this was, I don't know what happened, but again, I don't think he's a bad guy. I know Trump even commented on it, and he was like, "Hey, I know him. I've met him a few times, and this is so out of character." So I'm very curious to hear, kind of how this unfolds. But I know they just had twins. Could be a lot of pressures with babies and work and everything. I know she's come out with a few new shows and things along those lines. Just praying for their family and hope everything works out okay.
And I obviously hope he heals, and the truck driver, it's just so unfortunate. And I guess they're awaiting, toxicology reports to see if he was, just drunk or if he had been drugged or was on drugs, which again, the initial response from everybody was their condolences, before more and more of the story came out. And then it obviously kind of quieted down when, people heard more facts, and also still so many missing facts. But it did just seem that the sentiment was that this is just so not like him. He didn't have a history of alcohol, didn't have a history of drug abuse. So it could just be a one-off unfortunate situation. Just feels so terrible for the wife and kids. So we'll see how
Well,
that
that one,
plays out.
yeah, one instance can change the whole trajectory of your life. We're
Yeah,
hoping for the best for everybody, all parties involved.
exactly. So Kim Kardashian, obviously been in the news a lot lately with Skims. In an interview this week, she said that she would like to own a WNBA team, and ideally a West Coast team, because those are where her vibes are. That's where her roots are. She says it's crossed her mind. It would be an interesting opportunity. Loves to fight for anything in women's sports, which obviously we can appreciate. Skims is currently the official underwear partner for the NBA, WNBA, and USA basketball. So that would be a good fit. And like we say about her, you have to give her credit. She aligns herself and strategizes to align herself with the partnerships necessary to absolutely succeed in whatever she's trying to do. So she would love to have the WNBA wear her collection. So I think it would be a natural fit. She has the money. So I think she's probably positioning herself for that next. What are your
I
thoughts?
mean, her her owning a West Coast WNBA team would probably be the same as LeBron joining the Lakers. Just horrific. I mean, in my honest opinion,
Downfall. Are
I
you a
think
big
that
fan of the WNBA?
I mean, I am to an extent. Obviously, I played women's basketball and
Right.
respect the hell out of those girls. I mean, they work
Mhm.
their asses off. But I don't know. I just think she's got more in mind than just owning a team. Stay in her lane. I think it's going to be a bit of nepotism. Her kids are playing basketball right now. I think at the Mama Kobe Bryant thing in the West Coast, obviously. They seem to be good, but eventually maybe she's got teams and they'll join those teams and it'll be,
Help feed.
again, just feed them into that. So we'll see.
There's
But
always
again,
an agenda. Yeah.
it's Kim Kardashian, stay in your lane. I mean, that's just my opinion.
And speaking of WNBA, has anyone been watching the games? Game 3 of the WNBA finals is this evening. It's the Las Vegas Aces versus Venus Mercury for anyone that hasn't been keeping up. The Aces are currently leading the series 2-0. Game 1 of the finals peaked at 2.5 million viewers, which is the most watched finals since the opening finals in 1997. So things are trending up for the WNBA. Again, I know, Sophie Cunningham, obviously Caitlin Clark, things like that. Like, I see the highlights of it, and I actually prefer to watch women's college basketball than the WNBA. I don't really focus on it, but I try to keep up with it just, to be current with it. But there's so much going on, and it seems like there's so much fighting within the league. But that's great to see that the viewership is trending up. Former WNBA star Liz Cambage came out and urged players to find an additional revenue source after her success on OnlyFans. And basically cited that the league and its union seem to have a dramatic collision course, or on one actually, and will this upcoming fall. I thought that was kind of funny, or their off season. So she left the LA Sparks in 2022 as a four-time All-Star star and pivoted to joining OnlyFans. She's earned more on the subscription-based platform than she did playing professional basketball. Obviously, salaries are a big point of contention with the league. They are probably underpaid. And I'm not saying join OnlyFans as the other revenue income, but I thought it was an interesting take. And it's really sad to see how little that they do get paid, especially as a former all-star would suggest something like this.
Interesting point. I may be on the opposite end of this. I played basketball, so I respect what they're doing. I know they work their asses off. But at the end of the day, I will say that men are better at basketball than women. If
Hands
I
down.
were
It's a
to
different game.
It's a different game, and I hate to say it. If we bring this into the corporate world, if a woman is smarter and better than a man, she should get paid more. However, I don't know how that translates on the basketball court. Also, the NBA funds the WNBA, so if they were, I know as recent, I haven't really looked up anything with Caitlin Clark bringing in everybody and all the viewership and things along those lines. Historically, the NBA does bring in more money. Their ticket sales are higher, their viewership is higher, and so they should get paid more. That's just my perspective on it. I think you can get some, make up for it in your sponsorships and your endorsements and things along those lines. But I mean, I'm not particularly a fan of OnlyFans. I like to hold myself to a higher regard. But you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day.
No, totally. And I'm not saying I'm promoting. I'm just saying this was the article that I read and saw.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like, I'm not saying, yeah, everyone go jump and do that. I just thought it was interesting.
Feet
but
pics.
also sad that exactly. I mean, that's clearly exactly whatever floats your boat. But I'm just saying it's interesting to see somebody that obviously was competing at that high of a level. And then now that's their default. So I guess that's the point. Like, if that's your fallback, it's kind of sad. To your point, at the end of the day, football, NFL, whatever league you want to pick, they're making money because there's fans showing up. It's not if the WNBA was filling all of their stadiums and money was being poured in, they'd be getting paid more. So I agree with you.
I mean, it's very, very simple. I know these girls work their asses off, and I'll continue to say that. I worked really hard when I was playing basketball. At the end of the day, businesses, they can work their asses off as well, but if they're not profitable, you don't get paid.
And in the world of basketball, you really got my hopes up yesterday when we were talking about LeBron's big announcement. And I really thought it was his retirement because, as you said, it's time. He's got to move on. I've never really cared for him. Respect his success, respect that he's a good athlete. There's only one of him. I just don't like him. And he was announcing his collab with Hennessy.
It was a painful watch.
Painful announcement. Were you on the edge of your seat?
I was on the edge of my seat with excitement. I was like, finally, like, get him the hell out of the Lakers. I used to love the Lakers. Lakers were badass. And then he joined, and he just creates a lot of hatred, a lot of hostility. Is he even that good? I mean, that's obviously
he's the
we
one
can
that
prove
like
that
flops
good,
and
but
complains and like to me, yeah, he comes across as weak. He complains. Like at the end of the day, go to your job and don't flop
cause a
around
fucking
and just
scene.
exactly.
Yes. I mean, Kobe Bryant, classy. He was a team
Classy.
player. He annihilated
A real goat. Him
the
and Michael
court.
Jordan
Yeah,
are still up there. But I think
absolutely.
basketball is unfortunately kind of taken a turn. I like the old school days when it was like
Larry
Westbrook
Bird.
and Kevin. Yes,
Yeah,
that. And then even like
yeah.
a little bit more current, but like Westbrook and Kevin Durant and Dwayne Wade, like, on the Thunder. Like I'm talking that period of time. Like
I mean, yeah,
it's changed a lot since then. And I'm
it
not sure it's
has.
for the best.
It hasn't.
Or I
I
know
mean,
it's not for the best.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
It's a tough watch. I wish that retirement would come sooner, but I'll keep holding my breath over here.
Yes, it's bound to come at some point. Chiefs are 0-3 against teams with winning records and are now 2-3 for the season. Ouch. Are you a Chiefs fan at all?
No.
Okay, that's a short answer. That's all we need. So after stunning the Chiefs 31-28, the Jaguars are 4-1 for the first time since 2007. First career loss to the Jaguars for Patrick Mahomes, which I've got to say, I am not a Mahomes fan. Think he's talented, but he's like, I just can't. I can't.
I think everything about the Chiefs, like there's this other component to it, take football out of it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes' brother, Patrick Mahomes' wife.
Wife, big
all
one.
of these people are just cringe.
The
and I'm
dad,
like,
yeah.
it's like, can you learn to be cool? Like, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but you're really ruining this guy's like whole reputation. That's
I
just my
agree.
perspective on it.
Then we bring in Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and that whole show,
They're
which we'll get there, but
yeah. I got it. It's tough. It's tough. Nothing looks organic for him.
unbelievable touchdown by Trevor Lawrence to end the game. Stumbles, falls, holds on to the ball, takes it into the end zone. It was really an interesting play. And I know a lot of people thought like, oh, it shouldn't have been a touchdown, whatever, but there was no contact from a defender. He just stumbled. It was a clear touchdown. There was no contact, no nothing, clear touchdown. I mean, maybe the Jaguars will have a complete turnaround under their coach, Liam Cohen. I mean, it was did you watch the game? Did you see the end of the game?
I
Our
absolutely
clips, it was
did see the
unbelievable.
game.
Yeah.
I mean, they're finally fun to watch again.
Mhm.
That was definitely the highlight of the week when he fell and he got back up and scored a touchdown, and everybody around them was like, "What the hell just happened?" So
Yeah, and I even had
I
to think about it. I mean, he kind of tripped on his own feet, went down, obviously had the ball. But I'd never seen anything like that, and he had a clear path to the end zone. But yeah, I don't know the last time I've heard anything about the, the Jaguars until this season. So good for them.
Absolutely not. That was a big win. Yeah, the Chiefs are just looking really flat right now.
I know they've got it turned around. There's still time, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're fine. They're going to be fine." But I mean, they're fine until they're not. They're going to play the Lions this weekend, and I honestly think the Lions are going to win. So that'll be interesting. Speaking of Caitlin Clark was in attendance at the Colts game against the Raiders and was gifted a Colts jersey, and she didn't put it on. She held it, which I thought was kind of funny. Everyone else put it on. She's a diehard Chiefs fan, which I guess is mutual. So after that, Travis Kelce was wearing a Caitlin Clark logo sweatshirt on his New Heights podcast. But you know, if you're a fan, you're a fan. You're not going to put it on if you're not if you're a Chiefs fan and you're given a Colts jersey.
You got to respect her as I mean, come on.
Totally. I mean, I loved it. I really did.
She does not give two fucks.
She does not, and she doesn't have to, and I love it. The Dallas Cowboys, what a game versus the Jets. The poor Jets, 37-22, and Jerry Jones was caught giving the middle finger to the Jets fans post game from his suite, which I thought was hilarious and not really something I would ever picture from Jer. He was fined $250,000 from doing it. He said it was just a mistake and that he actually meant to give the thumbs up, which I thought was even funnier. Like, I mean, maybe the pointer finger and, and the thumb, but the middle finger and the thumb, we're a little bit off.
No, this guy cracks me up. I mean, he wants to make everything about him. Press conferences, like he's out in the front in the locker room doing them himself. Even he's got his own radio show every week or something. Like talking about him. Like I have never met a guy that again just wants to make everything about him.
A show. A
It's
spectacle that revolves around him, flying in on his helicopter to the games, getting off.
yeah.
I mean, it's his Netflix. I mean, all of it.
It's I think the most comical thing was him coming back and being like, "Yo, meant the thumbs up." It's like,
You
okay.
sure didn't. You literally looked down at the Jets fans. Like you're not even talking to your own people. Maybe if you're talking to your own people, you were trying to do a thumbs up, but it's hilarious. Yeah, does not care. And I have to say, the last 2 weeks, the Cowboys are looking pretty good. And I'm not a Cowboys fan, but they're playing well. I mean, it was the Jets. Let's be fair. And the Jets are the first team in NFL history and franchise history to start 0-5 with 0 takeaways. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's
You're the
not a good
Jets.
look.
Like, show for something. We'll see if they can get a win on their board. Back to Taylor Swift for a minute. I respect her career. I think it's unbelievable what she's done and the talent that she has, for what it's worth. But she was on Jimmy Fallon the other night, talked about her relationship with Jay-Z, and how his team and her team have a really good relationship. Like we talked about last week, Jay-Z and Rock Nation are the ones that secure the Super Bowl show. So she was putting out rumors that she did not take it because of the video footage, which she said wasn't the case. She said they have a great relationship, but she says she's so locked in right now on Travis Kelce and what he's doing on the field and that this is his life. And he puts himself in these basically
Sword
life or
fights
death.
without a sword?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like,
Life or death situations on the field and doesn't want to be thinking about choreography while he's out there putting his life on the line essentially in football. Okay, that's fine, but what was he doing last season while you were on one of your biggest tours, your Eras tour? He was on the field and you were worried about choreography. So there's a little bit, and also if he's not playing in the Super Bowl, what is she worrying about? No one, it's not a guarantee, especially at this rate, that he's going to be at the Super Bowl. So I think they're kind of two separate issues, not even issues, just two separate things. I just thought it was a really interesting response. Just say you don't want to do it or not right now.
no, I'm a Swiftie. I love Taylor Swift. I respect the hell out of that woman. She became a billionaire out of her own.
Unbelievable.
It's really, really impressive what she's done. But she is a master of controlling essentially the narrative. The way she had gone about that, it's just a little cringe to me. I think her whole relationship with Kelsey is a little cringe. I don't know
Very.
is she dressing him because she needs a new
Well,
stylist. The whole
she needs a new
situation.
stylist. You're right. For somebody that has that much money, and he too, how can you not dress better? If I could wear anything in the world that I wanted to at any moment in time, I can promise you I'm not making those style choices. And that goes for Travis Kelce too.
I think everything they do, it needs to be like a topic. So it's like, hey, how can we make this the most like outlandish thing that we're going to do right now? And how is
Mhm.
everybody going to talk about it? I think their relationship is a little, it just doesn't seem like super organic to me.
Organic, and I
And
almost feel like it's a little bit like naive or childish. And obviously they're young.
it's just everything is like marketing and everything is about them. And hey, how are we going to, penetrate into each other's like industries and really create? I'm just kind of tired of hearing them in the headlines.
Yeah.
I respect what they're doing, but
Well, I kind of
I'm a
like that it's
little
piped down in the football world because the Chiefs aren't performing. So it's not the spotlight of her being at the
exactly.
games and all of that. And it's kind of back to what it needs to be. Again, that's his business. And she can't help that she's Taylor Swift and a global icon. That's not her fault that people are going to gravitate to her and want to know where she is and what she's doing. And all the little girl fans are going to want to buy Kelsey jerseys because like that's not her fault. And I'm not saying that, but it just take away, I feel like, from the Chiefs, who are actually a solid
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, and maybe that's a reflection of why they're doing so poorly right now. I mean,
Right.
overhyped and things like that. Maybe they were getting a little too cocky over there. So, again, I love Taylor Swift. I wish no ill harm on her. I just
Right.
think it's a little
Or them,
overrated
just
or
yeah.
overdone. Yeah, we
Right.
gotta be cool, be Uma Thurman or whatever in the Be Cool movie, and she's the opposite of that right now.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. Which, by the way, 5 of her songs from her new album are the top 5 streaming songs on Spotify, which again, you can't hate on that. That is
No,
unbelievable to have the
gotta
top 5
respect it.
streaming songs in all of Spotify at the same time. And I saw a clip today that she said artists for people on both sides. And basically, she welcomes people with contrasting opinions on her work and that anyone that's speaking
Yeah.
her name, talking about her album is helping her. And I mean, here we are talking about her. And I'm not, on one way or the other. Again, I totally admire what she's done, but it is helping her. And as much negative I've heard about the album, you can't combat that she's top 5 streaming songs on Spotify. It's unbelievable.
I still have yet to hear that. What's the Wood song? The
Yeah.
A lot of
Good song.
sexual connotation towards Kelsey. I'm at the
Somebody,
edge of my seat for that one.
I
So
heard on the New Heights podcast, Jason was asking Travis, like, so what do you think of the Wood song? I just saw a little clip. I didn't listen to the whole thing yet, but yeah, she said the whole thing started out as naive. So who knows?
again, she creates
Um,
her own narrative.
and then everyone else goes with it. So she does what she does best. My New York Yankees broke their losing streak against the Red Sox in playoff meetings. Loved that series. Unbelievable. Unfortunately, against Toronto, things are looking a little differently, except last night. Judge is a beast. Home run to come back and beat the Blue Jays. They needed that. Keep it alive in the Bronx. They're back in the Bronx tonight. They just needed to get back to the Bronx to get some of that energy, electric atmosphere. And I hope they can pull it out tonight. Are you a Dodgers fan?
They're a little ghetto for my tasting. But I guess I lived in LA for the past 10 years. So I sway towards the Dodgers. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going for the Dodgers too in this. Dodgers, Phillies. Dodgers are leading 2-0. They'll be back to back tonight, Yankees and Dodgers. So barely survived a ninth inning rally to take the lead, and they will be tonight at 8 in LA. So let's go, Dodgers. I don't know if that's right to be going for cheering for the Dodgers and the Yankees, but I hope that the Dodgers pull through, the Yankees pull through, Detroit pulls through. So we'll see. And the NHL season officially began yesterday. The Florida Panthers are the defending Stanley Cup champions for the past 2 years. Interesting fact, the Stanley Cup is the oldest existing trophy in North America in professional sports. I didn't know that. It was first awarded in 1893. Baseball World Series trophy was following that in 1903. Also interesting. And then this is the only trophy to be passed down and engraved each year with the winner and not a new trophy given each year. I thought that's kind of interesting too.
That is interesting.
I'm a New York Rangers fan. When they were out, I was going for the Panthers last year. We'll see how everybody does this year. Are you a hockey fan? What's the hockey climate in California?
That's a good question. Obviously, it gets exciting towards the finals. I've never been a big hockey fan, respect it, go Kings, but yeah.
You can kind of see like Northeast, obviously, proximity to Canada, whatever. But Panthers is kind of surprising for Florida, but I just feel like actually the Dallas Stars are popular. But I should
Really?
know if in California hockey's a thing. Like I don't know anyone personally that just grows up playing hockey here.
I was gonna say, I think I've been to like one hockey game throughout my lifetime. It was cool environment and everything. But yeah, I've never really followed it.
All right, back to college football. Penn State is the first top 10 team to lose to an 0-4 or worse team in 40 years. And unfortunately, I think the last time that happened was your USC Trojans against Oregon State years ago.
Ugh,
Sore subject?
yeah, no, that's tough. That's a tough one to swallow.
I know. Well, it's okay. It hasn't happened for you in a while. Interesting. I mean, the fall of Penn State and Texas is quite something this year. And UCLA, the UCLA Bruins. Let's give it up for the Bruins. I know you're not going to cheer for that one, but you got to love to see it. Had not been leading in any game for any amount of time this entire season, and then they beat Penn State at home. That's pretty good.
Yeah, again,
I'm hearing
Fuqua.
crickets over there.
I
I'm not going to get anything out of you. But
yeah,
I did see a really funny meme on that last week. We talked about kind of our meme of the week, but this one I thought was pretty funny. After the win, it was a meme of fans on the field, and it literally looked like 20 people. Obviously, it was probably 100, but it said, "When your fans storm the field, but you don't have any fans."
Again, I'm not a big advocate for UCLA by any means, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt that the Rose Bowl is probably like 30 or so minutes away from their regular campus. So it is tough to get fans over there. Once they start winning
Okay.
and things like that, I think they'll be a little bit more motivated, but it is an event to actually get out to Pasadena.
Totally, but I also feel like just like with UNC, the fans kind of drop off if you're not performing. So if you're 0-4 and you're going to go play Penn State and you've probably lost a lot of attention of your fans, the amount of people that are going to drive out there, you're like you said, go through all that, expecting a big loss is probably not high. But props to the fans that were there, and good for UCLA.
And they were on the field, so that was their prime.
Exactly, they made it.
They made it.
Yeah, Ohio State still ranked 1, following by Miami and Oregon, Ole Miss, and A&M. Interesting lineup. People keep climbing, people keep falling. Lane Kiffin actually was another one that a lot of people were hating on. She should have been on our list, but I don't really have anything against Ole Miss.
Didn't they both, what was it, Kiffin and Sarkisian, they both played under Saban at Alabama? Or
I think that's exactly right.
Okay, so again, you gotta respect him. I think his wife should be the first lady of football. Not
she
L'Oreal.
would deserve it a little bit. I literally tried to even dive into that. I'm like, does she come from something of football stature that I don't even know about? Like, was her dad some professional football player? Was there any reason that there's like, again, I can keep going on that topic. I just kind of funny, but I mean, yeah. So no team in the country has 3 top 25 wins to this point, except for Miami. Go Hurricanes. I love Miami. I love my Ducks. I'll keep cheering for them. Big game this weekend in Eugene. College Game Day will be there for Indiana and Oregon. Go Ducks there. Obviously, we have a Texas OU showdown in Dallas. And the amount of Texas fans that I've heard that are giving up their tickets and not making the trip for like the first time ever is astounding. Just shows where they are, kind of what the sentiment is around that game and the team. I would love to see Arch do well.
And I think very highly of him and the whole
Yes.
family. So
Love him.
I'm waiting for him to actually show up. I still got faith. I hope a lot of their fans still have faith. I'm not a diehard Texas person, but I was super excited to go to this actually. I just moved to Austin, and Adam, my sweet boyfriend, he goes every year, and he was like, "Yeah, we're not going this year." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Taking
So
a back seat.
yeah, I guess we're one of those people that kind of gave up their tickets.
It's a tough in and out, and the state fair and all that's going on. And yeah, I mean, you've got to be committed, and it really has to count. But this does count. Texas needs this win. So I feel like I like we're talking about fans. I hope some fans show up because, again, I have a soft spot for Arch. I love him. Like you said, love the family, love the brand. He's still got time. He's got tremendous pressure. We'll see. So I hope they do well. Texas A&M versus Florida. This is going to be a good game too, only as a marker to obviously have nothing for A&M or Florida. But we'll be telling to see how A&M does against Florida, given how Texas just lost to them. And we'll give some insight to the Thanksgiving night game. here in Austin with Texas and A&M. So I think that'll be interesting to watch. And then last but not least, Michigan plays at USC this weekend. Maybe you and Adam should pivot and go there instead.
That would, I know a lot of people actually going there. Really, I'm rooting for USC, obviously, but we'll see how it shakes out.
4-1 this season, though, not bad. So
A
it'll be a
lot
good
better.
game.
And
Yeah.
I'm a big Nebraska fan as well, so I'm rooting for them as well. They're kind of on their comeback also, so we'll see how both teams end up.
Yes. Okay, and quickly we will go through our NFL picks of the week. We've got Eagles, Giants. We're going to go Eagles, Broncos, Jets. Broncos, if you want to challenge me in these or have other takes, speak up. Seahawks versus Jaguars. I'm going to stay on the roll of our Jaguars, like we said, don't you think?
They're classy players. I like it.
I like it. Chargers, Dolphins. Poor Dolphins. Definitely Chargers here. Rams, Ravens. I'm going to go Ravens. Cardinals, Colts, Cowboys, Panthers. Never thought I would say it. Cowboys, we're going to go with Patriots, Saints, Patriots, looking good. Browns, Steelers, Titans, Raiders, 49ers, Bucks. Are you a San Francisco fan? Okay, good. Bucks, Bengals.
I was when Darnold was on there. Sam Darnold's one of my brother's really good friends, so I was a big 49ers fan. But he's actually doing pretty well on the Seahawks now, so if we want to check him out.
Well, good. Yeah. We'll cheer for him and hopefully we'll get him on here with us soon. See what he has to say. Bengals versus Packers, Lions versus Chiefs. That's going to be a good one. I think the Lions might do it. And I would like to see the Chiefs wins, but we're going to go Lions. Bills, Falcons, Bills. Love my Buffalo Bills. And Bears, Commanders. We're going to go Commanders. All right. Well, that is it, everyone. Thank you for being here. Brogan's got to get back to work. I'm still in the middle of the day.
I got my next
so thank you for
10 minutes.
taking the time. Loved it. Yes. Hopefully everyone will tune back in next week. Like, follow, and subscribe on all social media platforms. 2 Girls, 1 Ticket. And thank you, Brogan. Your podcast debut. How'd you like it?
I was going to say I never consider myself a podcaster, but we'll figure it out as we go. But no, thank you so much for having me on.
Step up to a real housewife.
There we go. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
You can take L'Oreal's spot when Sark gets fired and she has to leave Austin.
I think that's a good call. So yeah. I think I would add a lot more value.
I love it. All right, everyone. We'll enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy the games this weekend. Go Trojans.
Fight on.